Hey guys, welcome back to another Vanguard video. Today we're covering the August to September monthly shop promos, which features as usual 6 brand new cards and 3 reprints. The brand new cards support Orfist, B-Heroes, Bastion/Alden, Haseritt, Granfia, and a Dark Stage generic. The 3 reprints are Dragresonance, Cadwalla, and the original Galactic base A.I.G.I.S. I'll go over each promo and talk about deck lists or uses for each. So Orfist got a massive upgrade with this order, giving it early draw in a turn 1 order play. So here's Twilight Boundary. This card has the auto that when put into the order zone, you choose a grade 3 card with Orfist in its card name for your ride deck and reveal it. If you reveal the card or you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Orfist in its card name, you draw 1. Then it has the continuous in order zone that if your order zone only has world cards, the following effects are active according to the number of cards in your order zone. If you have 1, your world becomes Dark Knight, and if you have 2 or more, your world becomes Abyssal Dark Knight. Then it has the act in the order zone that if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Orfist in its card name and this card was not put into the order zone this turn, you can cost Soul plus 1 and rest this card to call a Shadow Army token to a rearguard circle and change this card's name to casting a shadow in the Murky Night until end of turn. The last act is relevant for the grade 2 unit Polar Axis Dragon because its auto checks if you already have a world of the same name, as if you did not change the name of Twilight Knight, then you'd be unable to target it and drop and put it into the order zone as it's technically not a different name at that moment. More importantly though, this order is a grade 1, so now thankfully Orfist can use their set orders immediately on their first turn, which is guaranteed by their grade 1 Rideline Rotis, by not only getting you a free draw, but also unlocking Abyssal Dark Knight by turn 2, giving you more easy access to Shadow Army tokens through the order's act. This promo in combination with the new double rare from set 8, Delcomanus, makes filling up your board with multiple Shadow Army tokens effortless. This cardinal also helps fill up your drop by letting Orfist mask and other effects set up your order zone efficiently. The first deck list is from a JP Fight channel from player Hosen that I'll link below. This list is closer to the standard Orfist mass list running for the Cardinal Deer, which uses 3 energy to find your grade 3 cards such as Massive Hydreigon or Orfist Mass to add them to your hand early. You'll notice the draw triggers are here to find pieces as you want to see your Cardinal cards and Polar Axis to sustain your hand while comboing Shadow Army tokens. The Rideline grade 2 is Combine Rusher, so you can save deck space and guarantee calling it from drop once you Soul Blast it. The second deck list topped at a Hikahako's Chop tournament that plays Effect Front Souls for Soul and Shield. It also features Fire Regulus as the option of choice to deck them at no cost, while also not counting towards your order play for the turn. They also maximize the promo at 4 copies in this list and play an extra Orfist Regulus for the mass removal cost. So B-Heroes got a massive upgrade with the grade 1 Galactic base A.I.A.S. It has the act in order zone to rest this card and choose a card with B-Hero with a different card name as card from your order zone from your drop and put it directly into your base. The other act is if your order zone has 4 more bases, you can cost put this stand card into Soul to choose a grade 2 or less normal unit with B-Hero in its card name from your drop and put it into hand. Then you can choose one of your Vanguards with B-Hero in its card name, and until end of turn you reduce the CB cost you pay for that unit's cost ability by 1. Like the Orfist order, this being a set 1 order you can play turn 1 is huge, allowing you to easily set up more bases early and have the 3 bases for Dianos' crit effect for turn 3. The Rideline also searches for it turn 1, so you're guaranteed to grab it, and B-Heroes Levin can search for it directly from deck, and Darnia can also play it directly from deck. The massive CB1 reduced cost is for stately Crozard, essentially becoming costless except the shoving 2 rears into Soul to ride into Dianos for the extra Vanguard swing with -1 drive. So you're making the ceiling of the deck higher, allowing you to save CB paying for Dianos' 15k power, crit +1, or Darnia's multi-attack. So here's some sample B-Hero lists. You'll notice some of them running 3 to 4 of their best cards mentioned earlier, including Salos as he's an attacker that can hit over defensive and is a great early game card. Usually Crozard and Dianos are at 3, this list is running 2 Crozard to make extra deck space, but 3 can also be fine. Also your A.I.G.I.S base can of course add all of your B-Heroes to hand, and it's also running Twin Cast for extra defense and only runs 1 of the promo because as mentioned earlier, you can search and play it turn 1, though of course you can always play more. Levin is at 4 here because the consistency of maxing 4 bases and deck thinning is very important, and of course B-Hero promos Bedash is here as well to CC and refuel your soul. So they looked at Bastion/Alden and said let's give it Reprints, but power creep, so here's Knight of True Shot Illtyyd. Their continuous is if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Bastion or Alden, this unit gets boost. Then their auto in the back row is once per turn. This is a per card ability, so if you have 2 in the back row columns, they will each proc once. When your other unit is placed on a rearguard circle during your battle phase, or your unit in the same column stands, if you have a grade 3 or greater Bastion or Alden Vanguard, you can stand this unit. And if you do stand it at the end of the turn, you put it into Soul. And then it also has the ability of whenever it's put on Guardian Circle, you can reveal a grade 3 card with Bastion or Alden from your ride deck. If you do, or you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Bastion or Alden, it gets shield +5 until end of battle. It's overall a good upgrade to push turns of these decks, as both decks easily fulfill the condition, although the 13k boost might not always make magic numbers. For example, 13 + 13k makes 26k power, so against a grade 3 Vanguard, you're not asking for 15k shield. But still, a 15k boost will always impact guarding by another 15k shield, so it's easy to drop one on your first Great turn as Alden's CB1 call and Accord's restand will activate it easily. You can Soul Blast it out and then call it back through 4 brittle from drop if you want to run less ratios in your deck, or for kill turns where you aim to end the game by restanding your whole board, let's say. When called out the Festival generic, it can be a restanding 18k booster. So here's a JP fight channel for Bastion Accord. You can find their YouTube below in the description. They're running 4 of the promo because even going first, you can easily restand a column with Accord skill, asking for a lot of shield. Alden will usually be around 28k, accounting for Accords and the on attack, so plus 15, and then 13k boost, so 41k before triggers assumingly. You'll note that the Festival Elementaria is here because Prime is played as a turn 4 ride, because if you're on Prime you can't use Elementaria Sanctitude, and it's included as a 4-up with 1 OG Bastion for paying Accord's drive check cost. The ratios are very straightforward, 4 of everything, 1 orbital, then 1 of Ace unit to thin out the deck further, and give a booster resist, as your front row rear guards already have resist from Accord's skill. Here's an example decklist for Alden I made that doesn't use Caterpillar. Instead we have Pararam from set 3, that's very easy to commit, burn a CB, and cycle through your deck while having a good early game. On Persona Ride turns, it's also a solo 23k attacker. Fertile is here to have fun with tuning out the promo, and Resonel to EB4 draw 1 and set up a restanding column. Twincaster Shroud and Shadow are also solid options for this deck, and could also be good as Ermac works whenever placed by a card ability, so calling him from drop will also activate his power increase. Honestly, you could also cut Wedgefluence Dragon a bit, let's say 2, as the new promo refuels your soul, and of course Veltrosar Caterpillar also works fine in this deck as well. So the next card is Phantom Aria Demonic Lady Flauros. This is a Dark Stage generic that isn't really used in too many decks outside of Jeweled and Blank. It has the auto that when it's discarded from hand during your turn, you can shove this card into Soul. Then her auto on rear is when this unit attacks a Vanguard, choose up to 1 card for your drop and put into your Soul. Then if your opponent's Vanguard is great through greater, it gets plus 5k power until end of turn. The decks you'll usually see this in again are Blindmire because once in Soul, Elaborate Wizard can salvage a piece or a Sentinel. Vidrock is also easy utility to call it out for CB1, or you can use it to discard early and get pieces back from Soul into drop and then call them out through Nexus's ability. So these 3 work quite well together. Other decks you might see them in are Jeweled as the new Great through Geodrill, as well as Agon can tutor rearguards out of Soul to call, and if you discard her for Ride Up or for Geodrill's cost, you just get a free Soul. Her discard cost also works well with Favreneel's Herodis for his auto Soul cost to activate Persona Ride. So here's an example decklist from Dexander that topped a card shop tournament in Kagoshima. There's not much to say except it's basically substituting Butcher in this decklist, and of course they also play the Ace unit as well to tutor whatever you shove to Soul and call it back out. The decklist is also playing the Festival package in Blang just to have big numbers and make Vidrock a giant booster, as well as Feuille for Soul and early game draw. So next up we have the Granfia promo, which I'm just going to call the Shawa-Shawa Onion. So act on rearguard circle or drop if you have a Noblesserose token on your rearguard circle, which is the giant token that Granfia spawns. You can Soul Blast 1, choose one of your Noblesserose tokens, and perform one of the following. Number 1, you can put this card face up as that unit's plant gauge, or number 2, if your unit with the same card name as this card was not put on the bottom deck of the ability this turn, then you put the top 3 cards of your deck face up as that unit's plant gauge and put this unit on the bottom of the deck. Then it has the continuous in the gauge zone that a Noblesserose token with this card as a plant gauge cannot be affected by your opponent's cards, very similar to the blast token effect. Auto when this card is discarded as plant gauge, you bind this card, and this is mandatory. This promo gives your Noblesse token the ability, like the blast token again, to be unaffected by your opponent's cards, so they have to attack it to kill it. And in order to attack and kill it in the back row would be daunting, as a token gains plus 5k for every plant gauge on both players' turns, making it hard to kill even if you attack it in the center back row. The bottom deck skill to get 3 plant gauge is worded so it's basically only once per turn, and the continuous is there so when you would discard the plant gauge, he doesn't go to drop to reuse, but instead binds himself. So here's a pre-DZ set 10 list that I got from a friend. The deck blind takes second to have Rosarian Fairy be live turn 3 and one-shot your opponent. It's a more healthy version of Leonore Mass with daily doses of fruits and veggies. The list focuses around using cards that call from top or mill your deck to get the onion set up and drop for this skill. You have Philander here for selective deck thinning when placed from hand, checking top 7 to send one to drop. Jade Dragon is another relatively new card that Granfia can use to fill up drop, while also gaining power as well. Frozen Resentment, Meteoric Habitat, and Fire Regulus are all amazing orders to help in the deck while calling attackers and pieces that you need, such as Rosarium, so you can have 2 in the front row to keep copying your massive token behind Vanguard, and really just beat down your opponent and win the game as soon as possible. So next up we have the Haseritt promo, which is Fortune Guardian Feuille. Auto at the end of the battle that this unit attacked during your turn, or when this card is discarded from hand during your turn. If you have a Vanguard with Haseritt in its card name, you might put this card into Soul. Then in drop, it has the act that if you have a Great Through Greater Vanguard Haseritt, and you do not have a rearguard with the same card name on your field, you can counterblast 1, call this card to rearguard circle, and until end of turn it gets plus 5k power. And if your opponent's Vanguard is Great Through Greater, it gains the ability to attack from the back row. This promo is easy soul fuel during your turn, or reoccurring attacker from the back row that is easy to set up for just 1 CB if your opponent's Great Through Greater. If you want a deck that plays similar to Magnolia for Lyrical Cup, Haseritt is your play. This promo helps make the deck a lot less reliant on Rebelia Swapper for 5 attacks, as it can reach 6 attacks to get the most value out of Haseritt's skill and going first turn 3 high roll, or catch up going second. This list without Rebelia is more greedy to mulligan for normal units to just rush down your opponent as fast as possible. My friend also notes that Rebelia is also a solid option in Lyrical Cup. They're playing the extra Haseritt because they have an LSR and they also want extra Persona Rides in deck, so it's essentially your 4th or 5th Persona Ride copy. The Audacious Kakomi from set 8 is here to buff the Vanguard attack and center backrow column by plus 5k power, kind of evening out your numbers a little bit more, and your second skill using energy could also salvage a grade 3 attacker for next turn, or the original Haseritt if you need Persona Ride for next turn and didn't find Dress Up Haseritt. Soul and Fronts are here to never worry about soul cost without having to use CB from Topia. Of course, the best cards here are at 4, such as the promo Feuille, as well as Senon and Clawfell, to find your attackers and easily set up your board without using up too many hand cards. Refresca is also a great tech to have an attacker that once called will Boomerang Dragon back to hand, and since this list is pre-festival, feel free to swap out one Kakomi for the ace unit Octavia. This other list from the new leaders of Cray JP channel also plays more generic such as Valifer for easy CB conversion to draw an on-play soul, as well as Yuika for early game and taller numbers in the late game. Although their ride line is swapped to Relista ride line with the one of crossing Illumines in order to draw 2, and have a better aggressive early game through a 15k Vanguard on turn 2 that keeps hand through Valifer and Yuika. The list also plays Caliburn as their choice of Wrigglers, and plays 2 Sylphia for a more powerful attack with on hit to bot deck itself to draw 1 and countercharge 1. There's also a neat one of Kaolina to help your Haseritt Vanguard or rare hit over 1 defensive, or instead be a solo attacker after being buffed by your Vanguard skill. So that pretty much wraps up the 6 brand new cards. We have the 3 reprints, which there isn't really too much to say. They're pretty much just here in the promo pack to come as foils instead of the usual common that they're printed as. You have first off Dragresonance, which gives the skill to Vanguard that on restand you give plus 10k to your front row. It's used in mainly Overlord, Varga, Werble, Griandra, and in the upcoming set 9 Sybil at 1 to 2 copies. It's a common slot taken, so you get a foil version to put in your Dragon Empire decks, pretty much. Cadwalla is a good Keter generic, not really used in anything right now, but it's nice to have. In the past, it was used in Minerva or Youth. It's okay in Res as a budget option, which you can still add, Refister, Gabelius, or Persona Rides, but any deck where you want to find pieces and can make a board for the 4 unit condition very easily, or want to Soul Blast cards out, so you can then call them back or add them to hand. Other shiny versions were hard to get as it was a reprint and festival booster, so that's probably why it's in this promo pack. Then you have Galactic base A.I.G.I.S. This is also here just to get a full reprint, but it's a common, so it's very easy to find. It's a card that deck ins on play for no cost to scout your cards for B heroes and potentially call them out, but you do have Sender Forest now that does that better for no hand cost and instead just Energy Blast 3. Alright, that pretty much wraps up the August to September monthly shop promos. Do let me know what you think of these promos and if you will be grabbing any of them. Let me know what you think of the list, and if you want to see more videos of this, of course, if you enjoyed, please do like and subscribe, share, whatever you show your support. Thank you so much, and I'll see you another time in another video, hopefully.